Welcome to the Adman Podcast. I'm your resident madman, here with my right-hand adman, Omri Monroe. How you doing today, brother?
That's right. I'm doing okay, man. It's just today's been a day. It hasn't been very eventful, but it's been kind of just a day. How about you?
I've had a couple days. Now, something that I always say to people, and I'm going to prove it today.
Mhm.
Everything is marketing in one way or another, whether it's an inspiration for
That's
marketing,
true.
or you doing yourself marketing and all that other shit. Uh, yeah, I'm going to prove it right now with a question.
True. Go ahead.
Do you know the
Okay.
best way to clear a drain that's clogged?
The best way to clear a drain that's clogged is to call a plumber.
I'm talking about doing it yourself. You want me
Oh,
to answer
use
it
a
for you?
plunger.
Want me to answer it for you?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, it's an old
Go ahead.
school remedy. You pour a bunch of baking soda down the drain, and then you pour a shitload of vinegar down there, and that reaction clears everything out. Now,
That sounds pretty nasty.
oh, it works. It's great. Old school works. Now, why is
Old
this
school
top of
does
my
work.
mind? Because I had a drain clog the other day. Middle of the night, basement is full
I
of
thought
shit.
it, I thought you were gonna say that. I thought you were gonna say that your mind's in the gutter, and that's why that was on the top of your mind.
It's always in the gutter. Uh, but, but basement was full of shit water. I had to clear it. It was middle of the night. Had nothing else at home, and I said, you know what? I remember this old school trick. Did it. Drains are clear as day.
Mhm.
Beautiful. So, how does that?
So what does that have to do with marketing?
Yeah, there's you go. There's the question. When your marketing has a plug in the drain, your pipeline
Uh-huh.
has a plug. There's people out there that are looking for your stuff. They're just not flowing down the pipe to the outlet, which is your business. Sometimes
I see what you did there.
old school way of doing things is the best way to unclog that drain. Now, we live in a digital world, and things like
Yeah.
radio, traditional TV, mailers, all that's considered old school now. Traditional. But I tell you what,
Yeah.
it works. It works. I've been
It absolutely does work.
it and it works great. And we always forget about it because everybody wants to rank number one on Google. Everybody wants to have a million followers on TikTok. Everyone wants to have a million followers on Facebook and Instagram. Those can be great, but sometimes you got to go back to basics. You got to go back to old school and do the stuff that we used to do because that's going to what
Right.
unclogs your drains. You know, I,
Yeah. And no matter what aspect of life, no matter what aspect of life you take away for all the business owners, no matter what aspect of life it is, whether it's marketing or anything else, if you ever got a clogged drain, sometimes you got to pay to get that pipe unclogged.
well, that too. That too. Well, that's where we come in.
Whoa, whoa.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry. Okay.
no, you're
Anyway,
good. You're good. Hey, we're supposed to have fun here too. This isn't just a serious podcast. We're supposed to have fun. It,
all right. It's not just totally serious podcast. I mean, we shooting the shit.
yeah, but we're talking real stuff. It and especially
It
in
is
marketing
real.
because I I have a lot of clients that come in with certain budgets and they specifically say, hey, I don't want to do any TV. I don't want to do any radio. I don't want to do any billboards or anything like that. I just want to do digital because I know that's what's going to work. But in my professional
and really
opinion,
what it is it's trendy.
exactly. You know, trendy doesn't always mean better. When you have a certain amount
Not
of budget,
always.
you know, you're gonna hit the law of diminishing returns when you're just doing things on digital. You're just running Google ads, you're just running Facebook ads, you're just running Instagram ads. There's always a point where you're spending more and it's not getting you anywhere. And it's just dumb to
A
do that.
salad isn't a salad with just romaine. You gotta mix everything.
That is a perfect, perfect analogy. A salad is not a salad with just romaine. Damn it, I wish I would have thought of
That's
that.
right. Well, you know, you sent me down some rabbit hole with drains and shitters.
Hey, you know what? Again, that proves that everything is marketing in some way, shape, or form. You
Yeah.
know, but I do want to talk about traditional marketing a little bit because I've looked around at all the different, I've listened to different podcasts, I've watched different videos. Everything wants to talk about digital. Everything wants to talk about, you know, what's new, what's trendy, like you said. There is nothing out there about traditional marketing. And I really think that's something that,
No, there's nothing out there about traditional.
yeah, and that's something that I think people need to take serious because
It is something that people need to take serious because you got, I'm sorry, you go ahead. I
no,
don't
no,
want to
no,
cut you
go
off.
ahead. I want to hear your spot.
Yeah, no, the reason why people want to talk about digital and all those other kind of things because it's on your phone and it makes sense. It's very economical in a lot of ways. You know, we used to live in a time where the big conglomerates had all the control. You had to pay so much money to be able to get your business out there, and it just cost a fortune. And you just couldn't compete unless you were using word of mouth. So now that digital has broken the way it is, it just only makes sense to do that. But what people forget is, you know, a radio ad is really effective too. You may not be able to track it the way you can with digital, but having a radio PSA out there that really hits your audience multiple times until they actually remember it is great brand awareness. And I mean, you wouldn't use a spatula to build a house. You know, you gotta use the right tool for the right situation. So if you're talking about building a brand or just introducing your brand to your audience, you might want to use a wide variety of top of funnel methods, meaning methods that don't necessarily sell you something, but tell you something.
Exactly. And not for nothing, not every industry, not every business that is selling things has a digital audience. I mean,
This is true. A great majority of people do, but not everybody. As far
yeah,
as like active people who would convert.
that's true. But let's talk about, say, I don't know, hearing aids. Yeah, they're on
Yeah,
Facebook.
hearing aids. Speaking of hearing aids, we're going to the store right now and they sell a bunch of hearing aids.
There you go. Yeah, but yeah, just throwing that out there as something. You know, if you want to sell hearing aids, don't go on Instagram.
Uh
Those are young people. Don't go on TikTok.
huh.
You know, they can
Right.
hear just fine.
Right. Your audience ain't looking for hearing aids.
Yeah. You know, but throw a radio ad out there that says, "Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear
That's
me now?"
hilarious.
If it took you,
A
if you only
radio
heard
ad that says,
one or
"Can you
two
hear
of
me now?"
those, if you only heard one or two of those, then maybe you need a hearing aid. Call or text this number, and you can get one.
I mean, the other side of that is, you know, you think you'd use paper for something like that, but I mean, if your audience can't hear, you might not want to use a radio ad. You might want to use something like local TV because they probably subscribe to the news and watch the news every single day.
They do. And on top of that, make sure your ad has subtitles. You know, if it has subtitles and they can read it, instead of just hearing it, there you go.
Right. Not only that, you got to think too, people don't think outside of the box besides those traditional methods. You could even turn around and ask yourself, where does my audience like to hang out at offline?
Beautiful.
You know,
Yeah.
what does my audience like to hang out offline? So if I'm talking, no, not even just posters. If you've got people and they say, okay, well, you know, my audience uses hearing aids and they maybe hang out over here, I may be able to find them over there at this club. You might show up at those clubs and target those clubs and say, hey, I want to throw an event where we do some cake decorating. And while we're doing this cake decorating or playing a little game of karaoke or something like that, I want these guys to try out some of these hearing aids. So now you're doing some hand-to-hand, one-to-many small group session advertising and just trying things out and testing the market out. It's a little cumbersome, but it can definitely be done.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. I mean, there's so many places. Golf course. Go to the country club. You know, those guys are going to be
yeah.
Let's talk about them. You know, there's lots of older people there at the country club. What is the number? Like 1 in 4 people have hearing loss?
Supply stores, different things like that.
Yeah, so what is it? Like 1 of 4 people over a certain age have hearing loss?
I've never heard the statistic before, so I'm not really sure.
You know what? Well, I'm gonna pull up the Google machine. You know, I might as well. You know?
I think it's 1 in 4. Yeah, 1 in 4 people have hearing loss, including wives. And hearing loss is just one of those things.
No, we're not talking about selective hearing. We're talking about actual hearing loss.
Oh.
Because I think every male after 5 years of marriage has a bit of hearing, selective hearing loss.
They said something in training today about hearing loss, and they were saying that most of the times people, when they start to develop hearing loss, they lose the higher frequency, you know, first, which means women and children you're not able to hear them first. So actually, it's probably more of the men who lose their hearing first.
That is true. That is true. So that's interesting. 1 in 8 people in the United States aged 30 or older has hearing loss in both ears. 1 in 8 people. That's crazy.
I don't know if that's a lot. It doesn't feel like a lot, but it might be crazy.
Well, 13% of 30 million. That's.
Is there someplace to go just out?
Yeah. Oh no, 30 million people.
That's more than I care to know.
Of 30 million. 30
million. I don't want to join them.
30 or older have hearing loss.
I don't want to join them. But what I do know is I want to join the people who like to advertise. And that's why we have this podcast, so that we can get those people together and we can all talk that talk.
Yeah, no, but getting off of the hearing aid thing, that's just an example. But again, you know, this, and not for nothing, traditional marketing has kind of caught up with the times. You think about radio, all the big radio companies have apps now. And you can stream
they have
AM, FM radio from your phone.
That's right. because even if you look at the places where people listen to radio in the first place, you have to be able to be compatible with the way people consume that type of media anyway. People are using Bluetooth devices and apps for everything. So if you're talking about celestial radio, sometimes it just doesn't fit the flow of how the consumer is receiving anything anyway. So you'd have to put your information on a communication line that's valid for that customer.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking about it again. It's it's not just in the car radio or in front of your TV. There's Spectrum has
Yeah,
Spectrum app.
far from it.
Spectrum has the Spectrum app, and you can watch it on your
Right.
phone, watch it on a tablet. You can listen to Odyssey Radio here in Buffalo area. Anywhere really. It's not just I'm sitting in my car listening to my sports radio. When I'm working here,
96,
I tell Google, hey,
97.
play my radio station.
So if you decide to cancel.
Right.
Oh, there's probably even radio playing in that store you're in right now.
No, it's just a bunch of people talking. It's really busy today. I bet they're probably having a blowout sale or something. I don't know how they promoted it. I don't think they did, but I'm also not their audience, so I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
How about yourself speaking into the air?
You know what? Maybe when you get up there,
my
ask
wife is yelling at me. So we're gonna ask because we're at the elderly people's store. Where they we're at the medical supply store, and all the walls are empty. I'm gonna show you right now, just so you can see. I know you can't see it on a call, but it's empty. And it was a great store while it lasted, but I guess the audience may not have made it.
you know what? When you get up to the front and get cashier, ask them how they advertise. Ask them what they do. Hey,
I'll definitely do it.
Do it. Do it. Tell your wife.
I'm gonna. Oh, I'm gonna ask. That's a regular question. She wants to ask. She wants to ask right now.
Nice. Yeah. No.
Anyway, but so
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, how did everything go for you this week? We didn't record last week. How is everything going for you, man? What's new?
What's new? Well, it's not really anything new. It's just more of the same old. Clients with impossible deadlines, expecting a miracle.
So I guess the better question is what? Yeah. I was gonna ask you, what are some challenges you're facing this week or last week that you got over?
Well, I've had a couple challenges. Being an agency full service like we are, you're juggling a lot of different things. You're juggling your media buys, juggling social media posts, email, text marketing, websites, all those things.
But I
And
didn't know that.
email
there
hosting.
was such a thing as why.
Now, we had a client that needed a rush website. We had 3 weeks to do a whole website. It's nearly impossible.
Isn't that your favorite?
Yeah, it's the best.
If you're gonna really do it right.
But we're experienced enough over here that we can get it done, or at least get it to a point where we can go live and then make adjustments to it as we go along, which is what we're doing.
Mhm.
But
Nothing wrong with that.
between there, we had a system error with our servers. They got migrated. Didn't tell us what was going on. All of a sudden, I'm getting calls from 5-6 clients. Hey, our emailer is down. Can you come and fix it?
Which is the last thing you want, especially if you're running campaigns.
Yeah, I mean, I was in the middle of working on some other stuff. In the middle of working on this 3-week website. Have to get up and go and check on these emails. Go in there, check on them,
Anybody just
hit the
cashing
settings,
out?
get to the point where we can receive emails, but we can't send them. After the third client, I'm going, okay, there's something wrong here. So I finally call, our server provider, like, what the hell's happening? And they tell me, hey, we had an error on our server. We had to migrate everything. Everything should be okay. Well, it's not okay. Nobody can get their damn emails. Like, oh, we didn't think of that.
Right.
So that's another fire.
And of course they wouldn't say anything.
No, of course not. Why would they? They just got to throw it on me. And that's something like we talked about last week or the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of pressure on the marketing company because it's not just our business. And if it was just
we're in the business of building other people's business.
Exactly. So if it was just us hosting our own stuff and our emails went down for 2 hours, we can recover from that. It's not a big deal. But if I've got clients that their emails are going down, now I'm responsible for all that for them. And that's what makes it tough.
Yeah. Yeah. On top of your own stuff.
Yeah.
So how'd you solve that? What was the workaround?
Just worked on some different settings with people, updated things to the temporary server, and then when everything got migrated back, went through and told everybody, hey, make these changes to your settings and you'll be all set. In the end, everybody was fine, everybody was happy, nobody lost their business. So that was good. But it's one of those things where you lose time and there's things that we could have been working on that we couldn't because we're running around trying to fix something that was out of our control. And, it's not something that happens often, but it's something that happens. And I hope that anybody listening that runs a business and works with a marketing firm and they say, why the heck isn't this being done right now? Maybe that's a little insight into why it could possibly not being done. Yeah. No, I see you got yourself muted. You're probably up at the front.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't getting too much background noise because there was people walking by talking and stuff like that. So I wanted to make sure I was just respecting the stream on.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate it. And our listeners appreciate it. We don't need to hear 17 conversations instead of just, the one that's going on in my head and the one that's going on between us. But yeah, so if you're heading up there, let's make sure you ask what they do for their advertising. Because I'm really curious. I want to know. And then you know what? We're actually coming up on almost a half hour. I've been talking a lot, just like usual. But we'll once we get some info from this place that you're at, let's talk about that for a little bit and then wrap it up.
What I think will be a better idea is if I save it for the next episode so that we can have fresh ears, fresh eyes, and a fresh perspective. I still have to ask the question, and the line is a little bit lengthy today.
That's all right. That's fine. All right. Well, you know what then?
Yeah.
You know what? Take some notes, and we'll talk about it next time. If we don't have a guest, I'm still working on it.
Absolutely, man.
I'm working on a guest, and
I know our guest got COVID.
Come on. If any of our listeners want to come on, you can just shoot us a comment. Let us know. We can talk about your branding. You can tell your story. You can ask us questions. You can get some insights from the admin, right-hand admin, and the madman. Hey.
Let's see what I can come up with that will here for you. So
there it is. Sounds good to me, man.
All right, you know, I guess we'll cut this one short because I don't know about you. I'm tired. I was up till 4 a.m. last night finishing some stuff up.
I'm
And
not tired at all.
of course you're not. No, you
No,
just
not at
had
all.
one of
Not
those
even a
days.
little bit. Yeah,
All right.
always,
This way.
Hey,
always. Well, listen,
you
man,
know
it
what?
was a pleasure being on the call with you, brother.
Absolutely. I love our little chats, you know. We didn't get into too much of what you're doing right now, but you're a little busy. That's fine. 'Cause we're all busy, right?
A little bit.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap it up
All
for
right,
now.
man.
But
You
get
can set
that
me up
info. We'll talk
and
about
be
it
able
next
to-
time.
I will talk to you.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to the Adman podcast.
They're not moving.
Chris the Madman.
That's it.
That's
They're
Amr.
not, I'm on a podcast right now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we're doing a podcast right now, and my wife is screaming obscenities at me at the cash register. This is what she
That's
does.
life.
It would be so
That's
lucky
life.
otherwise.
That's
All right,
life.
well,
But all right, guys,
say
I
hi
gotta
to your
get out of
wife
here.
and say bye to your wife.
Yeah.
And make sure
Now
you
you have
turn down your hearing aid,
guests
all right?
on your podcast.
We'll catch
We can
everybody
promote
later.
the store.
Thanks for listening.
Promote the story, see?
All right.